AMURT, an international NGO, has worked in Haiti since 1995, building schools and orphanages and undertaking reforestation, agriculture, and irrigation projects. Members of AMURT Italia arrive in the capital to witness firsthand the situation on the ground after the catastrophe. We're landing in Port-au-Prince, and from the window all you can see is an endless patchwork of gray and blue. As the plane descends, we can see that the gray spots are shanties and rubble, while the blue are endless, asphyxiating tent cities. As the plane descends, we can see that the gray spots are shanties and rubble, while the blue are endless, asphyxiating tent cities. The worst things we had imagined before arriving are nothing compared to the unimaginable reality in front of us, and our minds filled with questions, unanswerable questions. And just as the sweltering heat enveloping us and bathing us in sweat makes our movement slow and dull, so do the noise and the frenzy of the streets make our thoughts chaotic, like the situation around us. You seem to hear cries wherever you turn. Yes, a wounded land, deeply wounded. You can see it in the broken down houses, empty and torn, in the heaps of rubble, in the smell of dust, in the eyes of those you meet, even if their voices are the same as always. In the children's home of Bourdon and Petitionville, we meet with Didi Jivaprema, who has worked for 13 years in Haiti.
My name is Didi.
My name is Didi Jivaprema. I'm 46 years old, and I have worked for AMURTEL, the part of AMURT dedicated to the welfare of women and children, for over 27 years. I come from the Canary Islands, and in 1996 I arrived in Haiti. I began a project of food distribution for the poor, and then I opened a school for many children, and then an orphanage. Before the earthquake, the school had over 200 students, but there are now only 156 left. Some have died, some are living in various tent cities, but many are simply unaccounted for. In 2006, I opened the orphanage, at first for a single orphan boy, then for other children from families too poor to feed them. Since the earthquake, the situation had gotten markedly worse. Families are homeless, living under a plastic tarp. The women who take care of the children have nothing left, just their faith or their desperation. In Haiti, there are many stories, terrible stories about children. I'll tell you one about Malika. Malika is 2 years old and arrived at our orphanage 15 days after the earthquake, having already been sent from hospital to hospital. Before the earthquake, Malika lived with her mother, who took her every day to sell soft drinks and ice on the street. She was significantly undernourished. In the chaos after the catastrophe, Malika was found among the rubble and brought to what remained of the hospital. She couldn't stand, showed no responsiveness, and vomited continuously. After taking care of her urgent medical needs, the doctors classified her as handicapped. Over the following days, her mother searched desperately for her, finding her amongst the other children in the hospital. But without any proper documentation proving that Malika was her daughter, she was unable to take her away. The days passed and Malika was sent to an orphanage that didn't want to keep her once they discovered that she was handicapped. She'd have to be hand-fed, cleaned, tended to. She was even sick. No, there's no room for her here. They called me and asked if I could take in a girl like her. Of course, I replied, and Malika became part of our family. One morning, 2 months after her arrival, her mother knocked on our door. She had found her daughter once again. She hugged her close, looking at her in amazement. Malika walked unsteadily, but she was fine. her skin soft and smooth, her face beautiful. Her mother showed me the document that proved Malika was her daughter and that she had gone through so much trouble to acquire. But, staring me in the eyes, own filling with tears, she asked me, "Can you keep her here? She has food to eat and is happy. I don't even have my house anymore. I don't have anything." We fight to control our emotions in the face of such suffering. We, human beings ourselves, confident in what we have, less so in what we are, struggle against our prejudices, but our hearts swell. Do we understand? Or do we just thank life for never having demanded so much from us? During the next days, we follow Didi and the mobile clinic team as they visit the refugee camps in Borden. We have the chance to speak with a representative of the camp who explains to us that the situation for most families has gotten much worse since the earthquake. Many poor people who once got by with the bare necessities now have nothing left but a plastic sheet, corrugated iron, cardboard, and sticks with which to build shelter. The biggest problem is that these people have occupied this land illegally. How long will the owner let us stay? A month? A year? Who knows? And then, where will they go? Life is hard here. If these centers work, it is thanks to the determination of the women here. With the help of volunteers, the women have put together an organizing committee to handle the distribution of water and other primary needs, choosing the times, methods, and costs. For example, water is trucked in at the price of 1 cent per bucket. The profit is used in part to pay the supplier and in part to purchase products for the common good. In order to improve the situation inside the refugee camps, AMURT has begun a health project, the mobile clinic, and another project, anti-violence to defend the rights of women and children. One urgent problem that needed to be addressed was that of preventing the growing violence in such a difficult situation of overcrowding without electricity, water, work, without any private spaces. Domestic violence is today's theme. And in order to speak about it with illiterate women, as many here are, we use this picture book written in Creole. Let's go inside and listen to what they have to say. A mother immediately takes the floor. It is difficult to live under these conditions. I fight constantly with my husband and my parents because they don't want me to send my child to school. Then he gets angry, he starts to drink. And then he takes it out on me and my son. The members of AMURT listen to the stories of these women, these mothers who are often abused and marginalized by people who, out of ignorance or cultural norms, feel superior. And their stories become the tools that AMURT use to develop a female consciousness that can defend their rights. Life. Its value changes from culture to culture, and struggle becomes the essence of life. We can feel this palpably when we look into the faces of women and children in the aftermath of the earthquake. We join up with the mobile clinic, a team composed of 1 doctor, nurses, and support staff who go from camp to camp every day to examine the sick and hand out free medicine. The Dr. Mark Carl Lewis from Massachusetts has been leading the mobile clinic for 2 months. He gives us a summary of the local health situation. Women and children aren't getting adequate care, and for this reason they are very angry, but they have other complaints as well. Medicine, food, and water are still in short supply. It's a huge problem, and the children are the first to suffer in conditions such as these, which provoke dysentery, vomiting, and skin problems. The main diseases that I have encountered are various types of infection, in particular, vaginal infections in young girls. The reality here is that if you go to the hospital, the doctors will examine you. But if you don't have the money to buy the necessary medicine, you won't be cured. Among the people waiting to be examined by the mobile clinic team, we meet Janti with her son Emmanuel. She tells us about the earthquake. I was about 8 months pregnant when the earthquake struck, and I was in the hospital waiting to give birth. All of a sudden, the earth started shaking, and everyone tried to run outside, but many were trapped underneath the fallen building. I don't know how, but I made it to the side of a road, totally exhausted and with intense labor pains. I called out for the doctors and nurses, but everyone was running, and no one would stop. Soon after that, in total desperation, I managed to give birth. My baby was born with many problems. He often faints and isn't developing normally. Since coming to the AMURT clinic though, and with the medicine they give us, he's doing better. Before the earthquake, I had a good job in a house. The house was destroyed, and I've lost my job. I live in the Zitwan 2 camp in Port-au-Prince, in a single room with my son and my husband. Dreams, desires, find another job, a house, a future for my son. Women and children. Women are strength, and children are hope, and the future of Haiti. This is why we started the Children Friendly Spaces Project, or CFS project. Its goal is to help those children who have been traumatized by the earthquake, trying to bring them back to normal life by offering them special educational support that encourages creativity and art as a way to develop psychological and social well-being. The children come from families with serious difficulties or directly from the street. Here they receive much needed attention and a daily meal. Right now, around 4,000 children are participating in the project, which is working in the various refugee camps of Port-au-Prince. This project is being undertaken in collaboration with Kinder Not Hilf, a German NGO, Catholic Relief Services, Americana, and with the support of the United Nations. Children are the future. Education and agriculture. The hope of Haiti. You can watch without seeing, study without learning, give without sharing. Or, shouldn't we begin making sure that all children, wherever they be born, are treated like treasures of the world?